I always say the UnSchool is a slow release drug. You take a class, your brain's like a little bit exploded, but it takes time to develop. And especially systems thinking, it's a tool that develops over time. And the more you practice and essentially develop the skill of thinking in complex dynamic systems, the more agentized you are to understand some of the rules of system thinking. There is no blame, that everything is interconnected. And so change is not related in time or space. And so you don't always see the outcome of your actions immediately. And there's always this need to be committed to the cause of which drives you as a person. So whatever your own internal drive, passion, pilot light, whatever you want to call it, North Star, that gives you that clarity around why you're doing things is really something that enables you to overcome the challenges that are inevitable. So I think it's really important to be mindful of those things, but to not be defeated by the challenges that we face. Resilience comes through understanding complexity. And so again, we teach tools like reflexivity, critical thinking, all of these kinds of soft skills that I think are extremely important in creating that mental resilience that is required. For me personally, I'm always trying to uncover the elixir of how to positively make change and not be constantly challenged by the system around you. But that is part of the process and the paradigm shift that we're in. It does take a lot of prodding and practicing and provocative behaviors to try and see what's going to work and to be persistent in the best way possible to that.
Can we dive into your personal challenges? I'm really curious to hear what are some of the big challenges that you face as someone who's a change agent trying to disrupt the system and how you deal with those challenges yourself.
There are different challenges that occur at different stages. So certainly when I first took the leap into creating my own initiatives, I had no idea what I was doing. Like the first project I started independently was when I was like 25 years old. I started my first company in Australia called Eco Innovators. And it was all about creating educative tools to help create sustainability and design. And I truly had no idea what I was doing. And I sought out entrepreneurial stuff back then. In Australia was also not like hugely supported. In Australia, we have a cultural phenomenon called the tall poppy syndrome, where you are not encouraged to be a leader outside of the status quo. Like it's a known cultural phenomenon. So it was difficult, but I always sought out mentors or people who had a vested interest for whatever reason in my own success. And I was very fortunate to have someone who did that for me early on, my mentor called Tim Grant, who was like accidental mentor, very good at providing whiskey when I was crying. Accepting that it was going to not be easy was, I think, part of the process. And then as I got more ambitious, I moved to New York, I founded the UnSchool, I moved to Portugal, I bought an abandoned farm, I restored that by myself, having never farmed a thing before, working in a country where I didn't understand the laws. I encountered many problems. A lot of the problems I felt were the most debilitating were systemic forces designed to oppress certain people. Yes, I am white, but I am a woman, and that has its own problems that you have to face. And just multiple situations where my age and my gender would encourage people to discredit me. And so you have to work additionally hard. In the design industry, in the creative industries, you have a lot of graduates who are women. You have a huge number of trained women, but a very small amount of them are in any positions of leadership who are making decisions. And the same applies for funding. When you have limited resources, you have to make hard decisions. Like you have to have tiny teams and figure out how to make things happen with not much. But in saying that, I also feel that those limitations have actually created some of the best inspiration. Every time we've encountered really strong structural forces, I found that in my personal desire to see change and do things, it's helped me figure out how to do something differently. Those parameters create a very small pathway for you to walk down or to run down. So I feel like I've come up with more innovative ways of doing things as a result of those parameters, even if having them is really painful and annoying at the time.
Alrighty, friends, if you liked what you heard in that little snippet and you feel inspired, make sure to subscribe right here on YouTube and head over onto your favorite podcast player to look for the Impact Everywhere podcast to find more inspirational guests just like this every single week. My name is Benjamin Von Wong, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Stay positive because impact is everywhere.